challenges are, what to expect, when to start, should they start now? What does it take to become an entrepreneur? Why is it hard? Why is it worth it? All kinds of questions. I started thinking, okay, this is too many questions. But what he asked had a lot of interesting tidbits of experiences that were sprinkled across my career. So I thought I'll consolidate those things into 3 pieces of takeaway or learnings that I had that I think you guys could really benefit from as you start your career early on. So I'll start with a little bit of my background. I know we have like 15 minutes, right, Peter?
Yeah, 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, cool. So I'll start with my background, what I did through my career. And then I'll walk you through the 3 pieces of learnings that I took away. So if there's anything else, if you're sleeping through the rest of it, that's fine. Take away these 3 bullet points. I think that could be valuable to you. So my background, I am a first generation immigrant. I came to Silicon Valley to Stanford for my grad program. Before that, I was born and raised in India, in the southern part of India. It's a small town called Tirupati. I'm sure you guys have not heard of it. If you have, that's fantastic. I didn't realize my hometown was that famous. But there were literally, I think, 200,000 people or less, which is small for India in terms of number of people when there's 1.2 billion people around. So small town upbringing. Then I went to IIT, which was one of the good schools in India. Then for grad program, right after my undergrad, I came here to Stanford. After that, I did my master's in electrical engineering, but a lot of it was computer science, really. Stanford is what kind of infused the spirit of entrepreneurship in me. When I was there, I think Silicon Valley in general has that infectious kind of, you've got to build something, from feeling, which I took really, I really liked that spirit of building something from the ground up. So after Stanford, I wanted to start a company because I wanted to solve a problem with a clean slate point of view. One of my favorite quotes at that time was Steve Jobs' quote. Obviously, he's most entrepreneurs, God for a lot of entrepreneurs. His professional life. The thing that he said was, the world was built by people that are no smarter than you are. And I really took to it. And if they can build it, if they can build the world that existed today, you can build the world that exists tomorrow. So, that was kind of the spirit that I took away. And I'm pretty sure that's a great quote, even centuries from now. So that's what kept driving me. And after Stanford, I worked a couple of jobs. I worked at NetApp. I worked at a security company. I was a B2B guy. I wanted to solve problems for businesses. So that was one thing that a choice that I made early on in my career. I did not want to solve consumer problems. I wanted to solve enterprise problems. And it's different for everybody, depending on what you like. What I would like to say is, you have to sit at the intersection of 3 things in a Venn diagram: what you like, what you're really good at, and what's going to make money. So if you can actually crack that nut, the intersection of those 3, then I think you've arrived at doing something meaningful that will give you money, that you're passionate about, and that you're really good at, right? So B2B was my thing. So early on in my career, I was 25, 26 when I started my first company as a founder. And this was a company called Ringcube Technologies. I picked a problem space. I wanted to basically put your entire operating system on a little thumb drive, because USB drives were all the thing, back in 2007 timeframe. So we actually partnered up. In fact, it was not even my idea. It was actually an idea of another co-founder who reached out to me. And then we started talking and it evolved a little bit. And I got together with a friend of mine, Mike Larkin, and another co-founder. And Mike is today the father of the Linux's hypervisor, OpenBSD hypervisor. He's the father of hypervisor. So he was a buddy of mine. I was one of the groomsmen at his wedding. So we worked really well together, and we built Ringcube. We raised venture capital. we were finally acquired. We went through the ups as well as the downs. 2008 was a pretty bad time for us because everything crashed, and but we survived, thankfully. And 2011 is when we got acquired by Citrix. And right after the acquisition, I was running a few teams at Citrix, but the bug bit me again, and I wanted to go do something again. So after some time, a little bit of time at Citrix, I didn't stay there for too long, to be honest. I started my second company. It was a video company called Collage, where I wanted to build a Zoom-like platform for asynchronous communication, record and share messages. Kind of like a early version of the business-facing version of TikTok. It did okay. We scaled from 0 to like 700-800K in revenue in a couple of years. It wasn't like a massive success or anything, but then it ended up going more towards services and other things. So I ended up taking more of an advisory role and transitioning the business to others in the company, and ended up starting my third company. This was a company called ContainerX. So here we built, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Docker and Kubernetes and that kind of thing. Some of the computer science folks probably are. We wanted to build a stack for that enables enterprises to adopt that technology easily. So we built a product. I got together with a few PhDs that were in fact, my co-founder, I believe, was a PhD from UIUC. So, and a couple others from VMware. They had the domain experience there. So we got together, we raised some money from the ex-CTO of VMware, who became a VC, Steve Head. And we started ContainerX. Within a year and a half, we were actually acquired by Cisco. So after the acquisition, I was a senior director there at Cisco. I was running a bunch of teams, their OpenStack, their networking, their container portfolio, and a few other pieces. And then this time I stuck around at Cisco because I wanted the big company learnings. There's a lot of things that big companies kind of teach you, which is how do you think about solving problems at a bigger scale? How do you think about solving problems that a lot of people are adopting? And I wanted to take that seriously this time, because the next company that I wanted to build, I want to build something that is a unicorn, or something that solves a big problem for a lot of people. So I stuck around at Cisco. I took away those learnings. And then I took some well-deserved time off. 2018, I just completely checked out, traveled the world, and got some well-deserved R&R. And 2019, I got back and explored some ideas and started this company called Deep Factor that I'm currently CEO of. We're now 16 people. We've raised the seed round, and now we just launched our product actually a couple of weeks ago. So we're doing the early customer deployments. This time I'm going to go the long way marathon. So the hope is to build a large company, as large as I possibly can, over the coming years. So that's my story. And hopefully it's exciting to some of the entrepreneurs in you. When Peter asked me these questions, I said, let me boil down my learnings and from my story into three pieces of advice that you could take away. So this is the part where you wake up, and I'll tell you three things that I think you could take away. So here are the three things. The things I learned. One is stick to a problem space for a long period of time. And I'll tell you what I mean by that in a bit. Number two, time is on your side right now. Like, you're all students, fantastic time. Start early. Experiment. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You will make mistakes even if you think you're not. So jump in, make your mistakes. Number three, persevere. There will be good times, there will be definitely bad times. In fact, I think the life of an entrepreneur goes like this. Like, there's a great thing that'll happen, and then bad time, bad time, bad time, bad time. Great thing that'll happen, and then bad time, bad time. So stick through those things. So let's go into the details a little bit into each of these three things. So what do I mean by sticking to a problem space? A lot of the entrepreneurs that I see want to solve any problem that kind of comes their way. And then their next problem that they solve is completely different, in a completely different domain. There's nothing wrong with that, but what that makes, what that results in is that you end up throwing away all the learnings that you have about a certain space and then having to learn a new space where you're not an expert at. Here's the key here is, if you want to become a good entrepreneur, then solving a good problem in a solid way is fine. If you want to think bigger and become a great entrepreneur, then you've got to solve a problem in a space where you completely understand how the rest of the world is solving that problem, and then solve the problem in a better way than how the rest of the world has solved today. For you to get that kind of knowledge about how the rest of the world is solving that problem, what other technologies and things exist in that generic problem space, picking a problem space is extremely vital. It could be learning, could be transportation, could be cybersecurity, could be anything. But pick a space. And I know it's hard to know which one you like early on in your career. That's why this is a perfect time to start. So instead of trying to think about what company should I build, I urge you guys to think about what problem space do I want to make a dent in over the course of my career. And I would say stick to that problem space. Try to identify the problem space you'd like that you want to stay for the next 30 years, right? Not for the next 3 years, because that is going to be vital in making you a subject matter expert in that space. And a lot of the subject matter expert is not, which bit and which byte, and is it C program, is it Python? It's not that. It's really, how is the world approaching solving that problem? And how are you going to help solve that problem 10x better, right? So that, Peter asked me another question, which is, how do I find co-founders? Now, it has to come, the choice of picking a co-founder has to come after you pick the problem space, in my opinion. Because a co-founder that is great for solving a transportation problem might not be the right co-founder for solving a cybersecurity problem. So pick the space. The picking of the founder will come naturally right after that, because once you pick a space and spend some time in it, like spend like a year, 2 years, whatever, you'll realize the players in that space. You'll realize which companies exist. You'll realize who has worked in that space for a little bit. And don't be afraid to reach out on LinkedIn to people that are far more experienced than you are. You'd be surprised how many people will actually respond to you and would want to work with you if they have a good problem to solve. Right? So that's where the fear factor kind of needs to go away. Like, just because somebody's older or more experienced to you doesn't mean they have a better way of solving a problem. Solving a problem is different from how much experience you have in a certain piece of tech, right? So number three is, so that was number one. Number two is start early, experiment and make your mistakes. And when I say experiment and make mistakes, I'm not always talking about working from one startup to another or creating one startup to another. There's a ton of big company learning. There's a ton of value in big company learnings as well. So there's absolutely no harm, even if you want to be an entrepreneur, to join a big company. Take away the learnings about a space in that big company. That is also, in my book, that also counts as starting early. As long as you have the mindset of, I'm in this big company because I want to learn about this space. And many times there are opportunities to create some interesting things by just staying in the big company. So for those of you for whom everybody's life is different, for those of you that want the financial security of staying in a big company, there's a ton of solid jobs that are offered at big companies as well. However, the spirit of entrepreneurship is not whether you work at a small company or a big company. It's really what you're building and the joy that you take away from creating something new. And that can happen even at big companies. So learn that. In fact, I would recommend you guys, especially early on in your career, to sprinkle in some big company experiences so that you can actually say, I know this domain because I know advertising because I worked at Google for a couple of years, right? That carries a lot of weight, especially early on. And then if you go and say, I was at Google for a couple of years, I identified, I was tracking this space, and then I found this problem. Then I got out of Google because I wanted to solve this problem on my own. That is much more powerful than I was sitting one day and I came up with this idea and then I solved this problem. Because the former means that you have become immersed in a certain space and then you've come up with a solution or a problem solution that is not solved even at big companies. And that carries a lot more weight when you're going out and raising investment, when you're talking to customers. It just is more powerful. So that's the second learning. Start early, experiment, make your mistakes. And the mistakes could happen in small and big companies. Number 3 is persevere, right? There will be, like I said, ups and downs. Many times in the life of especially if you go build your startup, there will be more downs than ups. So my rule of thumb is celebrate every up massively. Could be lots of drinking, lots of celebration, lots of, whatever you want to do. But try not to let the downs and if you do the long-term graph, then the down is not really too much of a down. So that's don't let the downs bother you too much, because part of persevering is to create that thick skin, and thick skin comes from embracing the downs as much as you embrace the ups. You should go check out, if you guys have some time. Peter, I think, already did. I gave a TEDx talk a couple of years ago. It should be on YouTube. Just look for TEDx and my name. I talk about some of the downs that I went through as well when I did my startups. We didn't have the money to buy countertops for our kitchen. And I just got married. We just bought a home. And, because I was so focused on building my startup, and my wife was still in school at that time, she wasn't working. So we didn't have the money to go buy countertops. So we ended up going with a kitchen table we didn't have like a place to cut, no wash, nothing. It was kind of a down, but it was a fun kind of down. Now that I think back, at that time it was a pain, but looking back, it doesn't seem like that much of a pain. But anyway, those are the 3 pieces of advice. To summarize, now that everybody's really awake, right? It's 10:20. Stick to a problem space. Start early, make your mistakes. Big company still counts as entrepreneurship as long as you have the mindset of finding problems in big companies, and persevere. Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I feel like that's very valuable, especially whether already down the road or just, especially if you're just starting your road to entrepreneurship. Just experiences from experienced entrepreneurs like Kiran. I feel like that's what I personally would value the most. Just learning from their experience, perhaps their mistakes and everything. So thank you so much. We've probably already taken too much out of your day already, but it would be amazing if you could stay just a little for like another 10 minutes. We're going to have our new members introduce themselves, and so you can get to know them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, we have a little time. We have 7 minutes until 10:30. So we have a little time to ask questions if you guys have any questions before we get to the self-introductions. So just, if you have a question, just type your name in the chat so you can get like a queue going, and I can just call on people. So yeah. All right, Nithya?
Yeah, first of all, I totally know what Tirupati is. I think every Indian's been there, but is this the first time I've ever met someone who's actually from Tirupati? So that's super cool. It's a really beautiful town. So that's really nice. I guess my question is, as someone who's a business major, I attended a talk recently where someone was saying nowadays every business is a technology business, right? So sometimes I worry, without that kind of technical experience, like with like any kind of coding skills and stuff, do you think that's definitely something that's useful to pick up, or do you think it's harder to generate value when you don't have experience with technology?
That's a great question. And it really depends on the kind of problem that you're trying to solve. Like, for example, if you're trying to solve, let's say, a problem in transportation or supply chain for, sending retail groceries from one place to another, then tech is really not, you're measured as a business major by what problem you're trying to solve, right? So the technology part, embracing tech and making tech an integral part of your differentiator is absolutely vital. I think you don't need to be the tech person. That's where co-founders are for, right? So get the right CTO, get the person that will build the tech for you. But as a business major, you have the opportunity to actually, in fact, use your strengths to avoid some of the pitfalls that tech-heavy guys do. Like, I've seen sometimes that computer science majors are so attracted to a certain piece of technology that they completely lose focus of what the problem is. As a business major, you can actually put them on check. But I would recommend that you definitely pick some skills so that you can know enough to be dangerous. But at the same time, you don't have to code. Surround yourself with the right tech folks so that you have a partner in crime. I would recommend one or two co-founders so that you can supplement the skills. But it's good that you identify what you're good at and what you're not good at. You don't have to do it.
Thank you.
No.
All right. Next we have Sid.
During your speech, you said that it's important that you immerse yourself in a certain domain if you want to sort of get experience and sort of set yourself in that workspace, right? So my question is, if you're in college, or let's say you're a freshman in college, and you don't have much exposure to these domains, and you don't have much time, you don't have much time to sort of be in enterprise and look at these problems that businesses are facing. What would you advise to college students who want to sort of start their startup, or who want to experiment?
Yeah, no, and that's a great question, because everybody has to start from nothing. Obviously, right? Nobody comes born with like domain knowledge. My recommendation, especially during the early days, would be to identify a few domains that pique your interest. Like maybe it's supply. Maybe it's it will not be like deep subject matter items that require a lot of years of expertise. It's most likely going to be B2C, consumer facing technologies or consumer facing problems, because that's what when you are starting off as a college student, you are basically leveraging your experiences that have happened in your life. So if you're 18 or 20, 22, the things that have happened in your life mostly, I see a lot of people solving consumer problems because they don't have like B2B kind of experience, and that's totally fine. Start with that. I would recommend actually going through a self-awareness kind of journey yourself, like sit down, get a cup of coffee, think about what you really like, and create a spreadsheet. I think that you'd be surprised how much you can learn by documenting what you like on a certain year and looking at the same thing 5 years later. Like, you'd be like, oh, 5 years ago I liked this, and five years from then I'm still like in that domain and I'm liking it. That means you're doing something that you like. But yeah, I mean, you've got to try a few things. There's no shortcut to it.
So your advice will be to spend time working on consumer related problems. Is that so?
That's actually my advice would be, those are the natural set of problems that will come, because that is what your experiences are based off. If you are passionate about consumer problems, that's fine. If that is something that you enjoy solving, that is great. But if you feel like, I have these consumer problems that keep coming to me, but I feel like those are the problems that I want to solve, then I would encourage you to go read up on other things and create certain domains that you will eventually become an expert at. But you don't have to settle down with the ideas that come to your head. You could go research. You could consciously go research and say, hey, I'm going to build conscious knowledge in the field of X. right? And write 2 or 3 such fields down, go do some research, and then figure out which ones you like. At the end of the day, the goal is to come up with that intersection that I talked about, what you're really good at, what you really like to do, and what's going to make money, right?
All right. Sounds good. Kiran, I hope it's okay with you if we ask 2 more questions.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So yeah, for the sake of time. So Alan.
Thank you for being with us today. I noticed how you mentioned you just founded your most recent company and you guys just launched your product. And I was wondering if you could give us some insight into the venture finding process, especially like early on into your career.
Yeah. That also comes, obviously raising finances is an absolutely vital part of the business. Raising finances with the point of view of solving a smaller problem is different from raising finances to solve $1 billion problem. Not every idea is going to be a unicorn, and that's fine. It's really what you want to solve. So the first step in identifying whether to raise money and whom to raise money from is to determine what kind of a problem are you solving. If you want to build the next $1 billion company, and then you're thinking of, and you feel like you've got it, like you've got the problem, you've got the solution, you've got it validated, you're ready for it, like you feel confident about it, then you've got to go to bigger investors that think like that. Like venture capitalists are great for that. And you can, if you have the right problem and you're solving the right way in a nice differentiated way, and not just according to you, but according to some early customer validations, then big investors will definitely be invested. It's just interested. It's just a matter of getting introduced to them. And I can help with some of them, and I'm sure there's other people that can help with that. But if your goal is not that, or if you feel like I've got this idea, it's a problem, it's a solid problem, and I know people are paying me for it, but it's not going to be a $1 billion idea, then going to a large venture capital fund whose sole interest is to build the next unicorn is not going to be a right fit for you. So identifying in that case, maybe to go to angel investors or people that want to, that are completely okay with the fact that you want to build a profitable business as opposed to a big fast growth unicorn kind of business. You then have to go to angel investors. So angel investors is a little interesting because it takes honestly equal amount of efforts to convince a big investor and a small investor. And many times the small investors are the ones that will really find it hard to give that money, because if I'm cutting a $50,000 check, it means a lot more to me than a multi-billion-dollar fund that is cutting a $10 million check. So I will hold my $50,000 or $100,000 very dearly as an angel investor, than a large fund who's holding, for them, 5 million, 10 million is not as big of a deal. So I would reach out to a bunch of angel investors that can actually give value to the business. Again, having that domain awareness is really handy, because once you have that domain awareness, then picking a set of investors who are in that domain would not only bring the money to you, but also bring you domain expertise.
Thank you.
My advice. But again, everything depends on the details. So if you had an idea and then we were having this conversation, I would probably go into a bit more, double click on this a bit more, and then give you finer details of advice. But right now, I guess it seems like probably a high level kind of advice.
All right. So I really hope you don't mind. We have some people who really want to ask questions. So
yeah,
2 more questions.
Yeah,
and that's it. Okay. All right. Next is Aryan.
Sure. Yeah. I just wanted to start off by quickly thanking you for taking time out of your day. I'm in California myself, so I can totally understand the early morning struggles. But mainly, I just wanted to ask you, like, exactly how much learning or knowledge can be transferred from space to space? Because I understand what you meant by kind of like specializing in one like niche or like one kind of general area. But what if like you're experimenting early on and you kind of find out that maybe this space isn't right for you, or like you would like something else, or later in your career if you find out that there's opportunities to be found elsewhere.
Yeah, no, I think my recommendation would be do the experimentation early on. Like now is probably a great time in your lives because you're in college to do that experimentation, figure out which space or domain you like. How, once you commit to something, don't take it lightly with the point of switching domains 2 years from that point, but take a longer term to it. If after 5 years or 10 years you still realize that you realize that there's opportunities elsewhere, try and look for adjacent opportunities as opposed to like a complete switch, because a complete switch usually ends up in a little bit of a reset in your career. Like you end up throwing away some of the experience that you did, that you gained. So I would kind of stick to adjacent territories. But, and so that is actually an interesting thing in identifying the area in general that you like, because pick an area where the market is actually big, the problem space is huge, and you see that general trend, that general domain growing over the next 10, 20 years as opposed to shrinking. Like if you go build, work at, no tech or lower tech spaces or some, domain that was a thing of the past, maybe, publishing physical books was a thing of the past. I don't know. I'm just picking a random example, but if you pick domains like that, then I think it's a little harder to stick with it for the next 20 years, because you are in that in general is shrink. So domain that is going to grow, and that's also part of research.
Got you. I understand. Okay, thank you.
Great. We can only do one more question. Obviously, if you guys have questions, you can ask Kiran in the future. You can connect with him on LinkedIn. He is our mentor after all. So final question is from Aditya.
Yep. Yeah. So, first off, I actually come from Madurai, and so I definitely have been to Tirupati. I have a lot of family in Chennai as well, so I totally relate. My biggest question is, how did you make that transition from starting off in India and bringing an idea with you overseas to the US and then making it hit? Because I feel like that's like a very difficult thing to do. And so I just want to know, how did you make that transition and really find your base when you came to the US?
Yeah, I didn't actually bring an idea from India, right? Because my idea was after my grad program at Stanford and after I worked here for 4 years. I took about 5-6 years after college to build a certain base of ideas, and I would document everything in a spreadsheet. I would basically list down, and I tried a bunch of things before even I started the venture. I tried to put together some circuitry to build a fetal heart monitor that monitors the heart rate of a fetus inside a pregnant woman's womb.
But my question, sorry to interrupt. But my question is more like when I think it's that kind of uncertainty. So after you finish your grad program, what made you so confident in pursuing entrepreneurship, and like, isn't that the fear that you might not, like, it's a very dangerous game to risk it all?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think, what have you got to lose? If it doesn't work, you can always go find a job. If you're good, people will give you a job. So that was my thinking. And I'd say sometimes not knowing it all is actually a great thing, because then you don't think of alternatives too much. Sometimes analysis paralysis can just kill you. Like, yeah, if you want to jump into it, you're passionate about it, just go do it. In fact, many people value the fact that you've taken the risk and you've done it, especially early on in your life. These decisions become more and more important once you have a family to support or children to take care of, because then your finances and all of that start mattering more. But if it's just you, fine. If you don't get paid for 6 months, who cares, right? I mean, just go bunk in your friend's room or something. Like, it doesn't matter, right? Just take the risks, do it now. now is a perfect time to do it.
Thank you so much for that.
All right, that was the last question. Again, thank you to everyone who had questions. If you have other questions, like Peter said, there's definitely going to be more opportunities for you guys to interact with our mentor in the future. But once again, thank you so much to Kiran. It was really amazing just sharing your experience, your insight to some of these, again, some of our new members that already have their own venture. Some of them are just starting, but nonetheless, it's very useful. But yeah, again, if you could just stay 10 more minutes, we have self-introductions. We're going to have our new members just give them a 30-second introduction, like each of them, get to know them. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Share
thank you for the opportunity, guys. I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you so much. You're too kind.
Future entrepreneurs, yeah.
Okay, let me present my screen again. I'll cut this off again. This is just kind of the prompt because I wanted to be able to show you guys faces on video. So self-introductions, kind of what our previous ones did during the introduction meeting on Thursday. Just whatever you want, you can base it off that. Name, your major, interests, hobbies, ambition. Please keep it to 30 seconds for the interest of time. And then after that, you can pick the next person when you're done. Yeah, I'm gonna stop share right now, and then I'm gonna choose the first person. Huh. All right, Tori, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Tori. I am actually a senior at U of I. I'm double majoring in marketing and management, and my management major is with a concentration in entrepreneurship. My hobbies, I can't really do much of them right now, but I love to go snowboarding, kayaking, and hiking. And then, what else am I supposed to say? I forgot.
Anything is fine. Maybe your ambition or like anything.
Yeah, so okay, so I'm working on a tech-oriented fashion startup. So that's something that I've been trying to get working on for like the past year. So that's basically all.
Cool. Sounds good. Do you want to choose the next person? I mean.
Oh yeah. Let's go with Sid.
So my name is Sydney, but you can call me Sid. I'm actually a freshman. Yeah, I'm a freshman at U of I, and my major is I'm majoring in statistics, but I'm planning on either picking a minor in CS or switching into stats and CS. So my interests include, I guess, your typical interests like watching Netflix sometimes. I sometimes watch YouTube videos of like of speeches given by tech entrepreneurs, and I try to sort of watch videos on sort of startup advice and what their journeys were like. And I also read a few, like I read books sometimes. And apart from that, I guess my hobbies also include I do a little bit of coding, so I try to learn more coding and sort of apply to different problems and improve my sort of knowledge of technology. And I guess my ambitions are I do want to sort of be an entrepreneur. I don't know if I want to be an entrepreneur right out of undergrad or whether I want to pursue a grad program and then pursue entrepreneurship. But preferably, I would like to pursue entrepreneurship in the field of AI. So I want to start learning about AI in like from now onwards and sort of build a startup involving AI. And yeah, I guess I don't really want to sort of start a job out of college because I find it kind of boring working the standard 9 to 5. So ideally, I'd want to sort of have a startup ready after I graduate so that I can sort of get into entrepreneurship because I find that more interesting. So yeah.
All right, thank you. Again, reminder to keep to 30 seconds. You guys have more time to interact with each other later on. I'll be keeping track of time from right now. But yeah, also, you guys probably don't know each other that well yet. So we're probably just it's hard for you guys to keep track. So we're probably gonna go in alphabetical order from now on. So you can just look at who's after you, like on the participant list. So first on the list would be Aditya.
Sure.
And I'll start the stopwatch when you're ready.
Okay, sure. So my name is Aditya, and I'm a business major. I'm a sophomore, leaning towards finance information systems. And basically, my interests are in debate, politics, and social change. But I always keep a steady base and connection to my technical skills. So currently, I'm in my free time. I do some research into how finance and tech are merging very well together. The fintech industry, as you would say, with stock market predictions. And so I have a bit of a base in Python and pandas and NumPy and that kind of field. My ambition is, I think the question I asked to Kiran, I always had an interest in entrepreneurship, but I've always been scared about the consequences because I've always been coached that it's such a risk to take, that to stick to a company and work a job there and make it big is much better than starting your own. But I've always had that in me, and currently I'm running a nonprofit on campus. I'm leading it, and we're doing really well. So I'm gathering some courage to go out in the real world and maybe start my own nonprofit and maybe even try my best to pour everything into it. So yeah.
Thank you. Give me a second. Next is, I think, Alan. Oh no, it's Aryan. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Hey guys. My name is Aryan. I'm an engineering mechanics freshman, currently based in Southern California. I guess just some of my interests were that in high school I did robotics and rocketry, so I'm pretty into the kind of like tech stuff like that, engineering, some programming. As for hobbies, I like swimming, cycling, and also reading. And pretty recently, which is kind of what got me into the like whole sphere of entrepreneurship, I've been reading some like entrepreneurial books, like kind of the big ones, Good to Great, Zero2One, like this club is kind of named after. And just some of my ambitions. I guess like in high school, I did help lead a couple of educational nonprofits, but I never actually started my own venture. So I'm hoping to gather enough information and experience here to kind of do that in the future.
All right, thank you. Before we move on, either Johnny or Peter, could you set an alarm for me, because my speaker isn't working for some reason. So yeah, could one of you guys just do that? Thank you. All right, next person. Is it Anushka?
Yeah, it's Anushka. So my name is Anushka Parikh. I'm a junior in computer engineering, and I'm also a technology and management minor, so I have some business experience there. Some of my interests are technology, like web and app development, also AI and machine learning. I also really like robotics. I was in robotics in high school. And I guess some of my ambitions are just, traveling the world and also hopefully starting a $1 million company by the age of 30.
Sounds great. Oh, just on time. All right, next is Athena.
Hi, my name is Athena. I'm a junior studying industrial design with a minor in informatics. I guess some of my interests and hobby, I like to bake and also like doing arts and craft. I did a little bit of like entrepreneurship last semester from COSAT, and I thought it was like something I would be interested in learning a little more about. I'm specifically focused, really like to do the UI UX and designing aspect of things in general.
Thank you. Next is Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I'm a freshman studying business. I'm interested in reading, writing, and I like to travel. And as far as ambitions go, I have an Etsy store and a bookstore, but I'd like to build something bigger on.
All right, thank you. You kind of your Wi-Fi is kind of shaky, but we'll have time later on to, yeah. Don't worry.
I think I got
we'll have
skipped
time
over.
later. Oh really? Unfortunate. Let's see. We got more chances to get to know you in the future. Next is Jack.
Wait. Alan doesn't have a chance to talk about
Oh,
it.
Alan?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm so sorry. Alan, go
That's
for
okay.
it.
First
All
one.
right. Hi, I'm Alan. I'm from the Bay Area, and I think because of that, I sort of had like that osmosis of like getting that entrepreneurial bug, or at least me wanting to pursue that. In my free time, I do enjoy playing badminton and cycling, especially from the Bay Area. There's a lot of hills, which is nice. And I'm a business major.
All right, thank you. Now it's Jack's turn.
Okay, hi, I'm Jack. I'm a freshman. I'm majoring in systems engineering and design. And my free time, I like to read. There's like nothing more relaxing than like reading a good book. I like to go to the gym and run. And one day I'd like to create my own company, like to start my own business.
Sounds good. Thank you. Next is Marjorie.
Hi, I'm Marjorie. I'm a freshman and I major in psychology, but I hope to pursue a dual degree in business as well. Some of my interests include like drawing, painting, so like art. I really like running and like psychology and things like that. And like I hope to become like a clinical psychologist and an art therapist, but also like an entrepreneur, and where I could create a business, you know, that's profitable, but at the same time could help other people as well.
Thank you. Next is Nikita.
Hi, I'm Nikki. I'm a junior and I'm studying finance and information systems. And I still have like a curiosity about like more technical stuff. So I also have like a minor in technology and management. I really like to run. I actually know how to knit. So like I really like doing that to help me relax. And I also like reading. But like the main reason I really wanted to join 0 to 1 was because I wanted to kind of like learn from people with like all different backgrounds and kind of see like how they manage to like make successful startups and like take away those learnings for the future.
Thank you. Next up is Nitya.
Hi, I'm Nitya. I'm a sophomore who's currently business undeclared. And I guess thinking about my interests, since I was a child, I guess the two biggest interests I had were art and then anything to do with like the human psyche. And also like I was super interested in space and stuff when I was younger. And all of this led me to kind of have interests in things related, you know, to the human mind and things that are philosophical. And that kind of translated into the ambition I have today. So I'm a big fan of social initiatives like Yes Theory, Jubilee, and SOFA. So my goal in the future is to have a venture that promotes having life experiences that are able to connect us on a deep human level. So I'm still figuring out what that entails, but that's definitely my long-term ambition.
Sounds amazing. Next up is Sam.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm an econ major. Some of my interests include sports and exercising, and my long-term ambition would be to start my own tech company one day.
Thank you. Last but not least, Sana.
Hi, I'm Sana, and I'm a freshman in computer science and linguistics. I hope to pursue natural language processing in the future, and I'm really passionate about the intersection of technology and language. Outside of school, I love to write, and I actually got into the college newspaper, the Daily Illini here. I'm also heading an anti-racist organization, and I hope to pursue social impact in the future.
Thank you. I think we got everyone, right? All right, sounds good. Again, Kiran, that was our new members. Hopefully it wasn't too long, but you just got to know them a bit more. But yeah, thank you so much for your time today. Again, to our new members, we'll have more time to interact with our mentor in the future, most definitely. But yeah, big imaginary round of applause for our mentor because we're not in the room.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys. It was really nice meeting everyone. And I look forward to it. Bye.
Right. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye.
All right. That was amazing, guys. That was just a 30-second introduction for all of you guys. Couldn't get to know you guys that well, but do not worry. That is why we have something called squads. We mentioned this during what's it called? Introduction, and you put your names in. We finally put you guys into groups. And oh wait, we forgot. John, should I play this video?
Oh, right. Yeah. This is really cool.
So this is one of the exec committee members, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Oh, he couldn't make it today, so he sent in a video. I guess it's 30 seconds. Get to know him. I did not share my audio. Wait, I haven't shared screen yet. We're good. Share computer sound. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Nice.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Ty Miller, and I'm a prospective member of the Marketing Executive Committee. I'm a transfer student from the University of Miami. I was there for 3 years, and I was double majoring in marketing and business analytics. In addition to the in the classroom experience that I gained through my marketing major, I also gained a lot of out of the classroom experience through a number of clubs that I was on the board of and in charge of marketing for, as well as an internship which I held. Outside of the classroom, you could also find me researching tech. I have a small tech consulting business, and I enjoy spending a lot of free time on websites like CNET and TechRadar. Additionally, I'm very passionate about skateboarding, though I'll be taking a short break from skateboarding because I recently fell and broke my arm. But I am super duper excited to get involved with Zero2One and apply all my marketing experience to help grow the club as much as possible.
All right, thank you to him. I can't tell, but that may or may not be SoundCloud. I don't think that is. Never mind. He's probably home or something. But yeah, this is our other member. He has, due to religious factors, he couldn't be here today. But yeah, moving on. Squads. Johnny, if you like to.
Yeah. All right. Now, I know right now it's pretty early morning for everyone, so everyone's kind of like pretty tired right now. So we will start breaking into smaller groups so that you can get to know each other more. Right? And then this is what we currently have. And so we will have like 3 to maybe 4 members matched to each group, and see if your name is on there. I think I double checked like all of your names are on there. And then also for Gene's group, for you guys, like you guys are not able to make it to some of our sessions, so you can talk with Gene about like follow-up sessions afterwards. And same for Skylar and Tina's groups as well. Okay, and now we will move on to our quick breakout. Oh, all right. Before we go into like breakout rooms, I guess.
Should I do the reminders right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, just a quick reminders, a few reminders to do's before we move on to the breakout rooms. First of all, get to know your squad. We're trying to build a community here, so like hopefully you guys get to know them more. Recommended methods include, but are not limited to, Facebook Messenger chat. Next is perhaps a Zoom Hangout session. And yeah, maybe we'll ask you about your squad members next Tuesday. Let's get to know them more. Next is the first workshop is next Tuesday, 8 to 9 p.m. CST. It's gonna be on ideation. So just some stuff to do before the workshop. Just brainstorm some stuff. For example, not for example, but like what important truth do people agree with you on? That's just some stuff to get you thinking before the workshop. I guess for my squad, I think it was Tori, Wanab, and Davi. So basically, yeah, just arrange a time. We'll be recording the workshops, so just arrange a time before the Thursday workshop to watch the workshop together, the Tuesday workshop together. But yeah, Johnny, Peter, do you guys have anything to add?
I'm having technical issues assigning breakout rooms. Give me like 3 minutes. Oh, wait. I can talk about the quote if you want. Wait, what?
Do you want to assign me as a host so I can just do it right now?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's do it.
I assigned some people already, so don't join your breakout rooms yet. I'll let Johnny take over as tech support in a second.
Don't join these. We're getting an
invite. Not yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Peter, aren't you minoring in CS?
Huh?
Don't bother him. He's gonna lose focus.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, as Gene said, ideation workshop is next Tuesday, hosted by yours truly. And before the workshop, try to brainstorm for the question, what important truth do few people agree with you on? I think this is an extremely difficult question, and it is Peter Thiel's favorite interview question. Yeah, I still don't have an answer myself, but yeah. Cool. Gene, you want to go to the next slide? Oh, next one.
All right. So next up, we're going to be doing non-cringy icebreakers in the breakout rooms with your squad. I hate icebreakers. They're so cringy. They're like,
Yeah.
but anyways, hopefully we can make this less cringy. We have some stuff planned. Peter, go ahead.
Yeah. So old members, if you check the general chat, we listed some questions to help you. Yeah.
Sorry, give me a second. There are too many people in here, so
I know. Yeah, Gene, you want to go to the
Should we
slide?
join the breakout room now?
Not yet.
I mean,
okay, yeah.
Okay.
So
before that, so we do realize that Zoom socials or even Zoom interactions, it's gonna be really limited. So again, we're trying our best to make it a great experience for everyone. Like Peter said, later on in the breakout rooms, for the ones we'll have a set number of questions to ask, kind of like a mini coffee chat. But yeah, hopefully it turns out well. Next it is 0 to 1 tradition to end off every meeting with a motivational quote. Today's quote is sponsored by Peter. Peter. Anyways, go for it.
yeah, so this is a quote I really like. I think it was in his book, 0 to 1, or it was just like some blog I read online. But yeah, a great company is a conspiracy to change the world. And to me, that basically a lot of companies, when they first start off, people doubt it. Only the founders truly believe in what they're doing, and only the founders realize the value that they can provide for the world, no matter what other people think. No matter like if people question their ambitions or question their vision. Yeah, and yeah, I explained that pretty bad, but cool. Are we ready, Johnny?
Yep, we're ready. Yeah, sorry for the wait.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, also,